And breaking news also tonight in the death of Aaron Hernandez. Within just the last hour, the medical examiner confirmed that the former NFL star committed suicide.
And that news just hours after Hernandez's attorney held a news conference accusing the state's chief medical examiner of illegally holding Hernandez's brain. Let's get right to Eyewitness News reporter Jared Planner with the very latest. He's live outside Hernandez's former home in North Attleboro. Jared?
Mike and Shannon, that's right. As you say, the medical examiner confirming what was initially reported yesterday, that Aaron Hernandez died by suicide, by hanging, having used a bed sheet. That after Hernandez's attorney tore into the ME's office while standing outside of that office up in Boston today. Investigators say, additionally, there were no signs of a struggle in Hernandez's cell, and that investigators found 3 handwritten notes next to a Bible. Hernandez attorney Jose Baez calling a news conference blasting the medical examiner's office in Boston.
It is our position that they are holding Aaron Hernandez's brain illegally. They have released the body and withheld Aaron's brain.
Asked why the skepticism over state reports Hernandez hanged himself.
Why are you so quick to accept their word? As it relates to whether it's a suicide or not, we don't make that call again until everything is done.
Baez saying family wants Hernandez's brain to be studied at Boston University for any traumatic football-related injury, though Baez not saying he believes there was.
You don't make a conclusion without looking, and that's what we're doing. We're looking.
Holding firm he was only going to address the brain issue, Baez refused to address anonymously sourced Boston reports Hernandez was found in his cell with a Bible verse scrawled on his forehead.
I don't know where you're getting your factual information from. If it's a confidential source, of course I'm not going to address something so ridiculous as that. How do I know? Was I there?
But no answer to the follow-up on whether he sat in on the state autopsy, and how was Aaron Hernandez during the pair's final conversation.
I'm a lawyer, not a psychiatrist, so I can't do that.
And again, the medical examiner now in this same news release saying the brain will be released for study over at Boston University. The Worcester DA, by the way, saying Hernandez was locked in his cell around 8 o'clock in the evening, was not found until roughly 7 hours later by a correctional officer who noticed him in his cell. Now, our Boston affiliate, WBZ-TV, reporting at least one correctional officer is on leave tonight. We have made repeated requests of the Department of Correction to confirm that information, and we have not heard back. We'll have more on this next hour at 6 o'clock. For now, live outside Aaron Hernandez's former home in North Attleboro with the Southeast of Massachusetts Mobile Newsroom, Jared Planner, Eyewitness News.
First at 6, our coverage continues of the death of Aaron Hernandez, which investigators have officially ruled a suicide.
The mother of Odin Lloyd is planning to speak to reporters tomorrow. As we reported yesterday, her attorneys are continuing with their civil suit against Hernandez.
Meantime, Hernandez's attorney is continuing with his own investigation despite the release from the Worcester County DA's office this afternoon, which, among other things, said Hernandez was alone in his cell from 8 p.m. Tuesday night until 3 a.m. yesterday morning when a corrections officer spotted him. Eyewitness News reporter Jared Planner has more on the DA's report and what Hernandez's attorney had to say this afternoon. Live from outside Hernandez's former home in North Attleboro with the Southeastern Massachusetts Mobile Newsroom. Jared?
Mike and Shannon, that's right. The ME officially ruling and confirming what was said initially by prison officials that Hernandez hanged himself with a bedsheet, and that was the cause of death, agreeing to release Hernandez's brain for study of any sports-related injury, that done at a lab at Boston University. That after his attorney, Jose Baez, blasted the ME's office today, accusing them of withholding the brain. And investigators now say, as you mentioned, more info coming out of that prison cell. Investigators now say there were no signs of a struggle and that they found 3 handwritten notes next to a Bible there. Hernandez attorney Jose Baez saying he's hired renowned forensic pathologist Michael Bodden to do an independent autopsy.
Why are you so quick to accept their word? As it relates to whether it's a suicide or not, we don't make that call again until everything is done.
Saying the family also wants Hernandez's brain studied for injury at BU. Baez shrugging off Boston reports Hernandez had a Bible verse scrawled on his forehead.
I don't know where you're getting your factual information from. If it's a confidential source, of course I'm not going to address something so ridiculous as that.
Richard Brody is a prominent Boston attorney and a former prosecutor.
Why would he kill himself? I don't know. But the fact that his lawyer didn't think that he would kill himself doesn't necessarily mean he wouldn't have killed himself.
Brody knows liability cases. He says conviction or acquittal, dead or alive, victims' families' civil suits against Hernandez are different.
The criminal case, you have to be found guilty beyond a reasonable doubt. Civil case, the burden of proof is substantially lower, more likely than not, meaning more than 50% sure. I don't think it's going to be hard.
And that is to say nothing of what Hernandez's assets exist beyond this now vacant house. Now, the Worcester DA saying Hernandez was not found for about 7 hours after he was locked in the evening. Our Boston affiliate WBZ-TV reporting at least one correctional officer is now on paid leave. We have reached out repeatedly to the Department of Correction for more insight, for confirmation on this reporting, and we have so far not heard back. We're now live in North Attleboro with the Southeast of Massachusetts Mobile Newsroom. Jared Pliner, Eyewitness News.
Thank you, Jared. Count on Eyewitness News for continuing coverage of the death of Aaron Hernandez on air and online.
Right now at WPRI.com, you can read more about Hernandez's former North Attleboro home, as well as a timeline of the case against him.